Welcome to Hitimu Academy. Today, we're diving into the fascinating world of constitutions. Not the dusty old documents, but the frameworks shaping our modern world. We'll explore how these fundamental laws address human rights, environmental protection, and the influence of technology and globalization. Picture this. It's the late 20th century, and the world is witnessing a seismic shift in how we think about human rights. Constitutions are on the front lines of this revolution, guaranteeing not just basic civil liberties, but also social, economic, and cultural rights. South Africa's post-apartheid constitution, for instance, boldly proclaims the right to housing, healthcare, and education. Historically, constitutions haven't always protected the rights of minorities. But now, there's a growing recognition that diversity is a strength, and constitutions are evolving to safeguard marginalized groups. Think Canada's Constitution Act, which protects its French-speaking population, or India's provisions for affirmative action. Climate change is the defining crisis of our time, forcing us to rethink our relationship with the planet. A growing number of countries are using constitutions to address this issue. Ecuador, for instance, granted legal rights to nature itself in 2008. Talk about a paradigm shift. In the world of constitutions, the judiciary often keeps everyone else in check. Modern constitutions are empowering courts to strike down laws that violate fundamental rights. The US Supreme Court's power of judicial review is a classic example, mirrored in countries like India. For centuries, constitutions were drafted by elite lawmakers with little input from the people. Today, there's a growing demand for inclusive and participatory constitution-making. South Africa's post-apartheid constitution and Kenya's 2010 constitution were shaped by extensive public consultations. We live in a globalized world, so it makes sense that our constitutions reflect that reality. Countries are incorporating international human rights treaties and standards into their constitutional frameworks. The European Convention on Human Rights has profoundly influenced constitutional law throughout Europe. Imagine a world where human rights aren't bound by borders, where fundamental principles are universally recognized. Thanks to international law and institutions, that vision is becoming a reality, inspired by the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Countries often look to their neighbors for inspiration, adopting successful constitutional practices. South Africa's Bill of Rights draws from Canada and India, while Germany's proportional representation model has influenced electoral reform globally. With the rise of international trade, constitutions are creating a stable legal environment for businesses. From intellectual property rights to investor protections, global trade agreements are shaping constitutional law. The nation-state has reigned supreme, but globalization is challenging traditional sovereignty. International laws and institutions are increasingly influencing national constitutions. Think of the European Union, where member states align their laws with EU regulations. Technology has revolutionized our lives, and constitutions are scrambling to keep up. Courts around the world are wrestling with how to apply centuries-old principles to 21st century challenges. As the world becomes interconnected, we're seeing the emergence of transnational constitutionalism. Fundamental principles and values are gaining traction across borders, shaping constitutional norms. The world of constitutions is dynamic and evolving, shaped by global forces and technological advancements. Understanding these trends is essential for the future of democracy, human rights, and the rule of law. Thanks for joining us on this journey through constitutional development. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more from Hitimu Academy.